Hey guys, what's up? In today's video, I'm going to be showing you in very clear detail how we help our clients who are complete beginners enter the high ticket sales space and have success. And the process at this point makes it, in my belief, undeniable and irrefutable that you will be successful in this space, depending on two variables and factors. Is number one is if you can put in the right amount of effort, right? And number two, that you don't give up, right? That you just put in that required amount of effort for a consistent long duration of time. This process, I'm very confident, has made it irrefutable and undeniable that you will be successful. Now, I know it is a very bold claim, but I'm going to back that up with some social proof right here, right now. If you didn't see on my Instagram, I actually just maxed out my fourth results highlight. You can go ahead and check that out on my Instagram page. Results 5.0, 4.0, 3.0, and so on. For every highlight, you need to have 100 individual posts, and we've maxed out four of them. So we have 400 plus individual screenshots of us getting results with this. We have 18 plus full length, nearly hour long case studies and interviews with my successful clients on the YouTube channel that you can go ahead and check out. We have 80 plus video testimonials, which I haven't published just yet at the time of this recording. And we also have 93, 94, I think now, reviews on Trustpilot, which totals to being 4.9 out of 5 stars, which I think is a pretty amazing thing that I'm super proud of. Because it's one thing to get people on Instagram and screenshot it and maybe just kind of twist it a certain way, but you have 94 reviews that you can view on a third-party website, trustpilot.com. Search up Remote Sales Academy, you'll find it. And you can go and look at every single individual written testimonial from all of our amazing students that have gotten amazing results, and obviously appreciate a lot of the work that we've done for them. So with that in mind, that's the proof on why this works. Let's dive into the actual process. So when I first got into high ticket sales 5 years ago, I've noticed over the last couple of years doing this as a career and being in this industry as present, full-time selling, is three main problems. Number one, the biggest problem of all of them is finding a good role and opportunity to where you can actually make money in high ticket sales. This is problem number one, and it's probably the biggest priority and the biggest struggle for most people. And I'm going to take you through the process on how we solve that. Problem number two is what offers do you actually pick that are going to allow you to make the money that you want? A lot of the times I see beginners work with marketers who've been in the space for 6 months to a year, and now they're selling a coaching program on how to get into high ticket sales. I'm going to talk about this later on about my experience, but I've been in this industry for 5+ years now. So I've seen the worst of it. I know what works. I know what doesn't. I know what companies are going to be good. I know what companies aren't. And this problem in itself can waste people getting in the space and drag out the period from going from scratch to actually getting a result, by weeks, months, even up to a year if you pick the wrong offer, because again, you just don't know what you don't know. And the third and final problem that I saw from a lot of people is, as a complete beginner, to perform on the offer. How do you get taught sales as a complete beginner to actually understand the process fundamentally, and working with someone who's actually got experience and who's invested in their sales training and who has a proof track record and can show their competence in a long format setting, right? This is the third and final thing I see a lot of people struggle with. Because even if you get good at this thing, which again, some coaches are pretty good at it from what I've seen, but most aren't, even then, most people always come back to this first problem here, which is the ability and the skills to find a good job opportunity in the space. Okay. So, what I want to do is I want to show you the process of how we help people and process we follow, and what I've kind of understood that's get such great results as I showed you down here before. Okay. Now, it's all really structured under umbrella of the philosophy of what I call the founders framework. Now, I've seen someone in the space, in the high ticket sales space, talk about something similar of this idea, and I thought that was brilliant, and I wanted to basically make my own spin on it because I think it was such a great, well explained. What I was trying to get out of my mind he did very well of a very good job of it. And so I've kind of put it under my own system, which I want to show you here on how we get such great results with beginners. So the founders framework, what is it? Essentially, all that this framework and this philosophy, this lens to view your career through is that a really big problem with a lot of beginners is they come into the space thinking and acting like a 9 to 5er and then getting 9 to 5 results. To get to 5, 10, $15,000 a month plus, you need to start thinking like a business owner. You need to start thinking like a founder, because this is not a career where you just get a cushy salary and you're paid a base and you get paid for showing up. You get paid for the results you bring to the table. So not only is this a focus on your performance and your skill level, but it's also taking care and responsibility in the areas that matter in terms of getting good job opportunities, finding them, actually acquiring them through interviewing skills, and all that other type of good stuff. So let me break down this concept to you, and I'll explain again how we help our clients get such amazing results and how potentially you could yourself as well. So, with any business, any successful business, there is four main areas. This is what I found, especially through my first mentor. And understanding this is what has brought me and my students the best results. So, number one, for every business, you have to have a good leader, right? And a good leader comes back to mindset, it comes back to your personal development. There's a saying that goes around: your level of wealth and success will never exceed your level of personal development. I've found that to be completely true with myself, with my students, and multi millionaires, very successful people, right? All across the board, you have to have a level of conscious understanding. You have to be well personally developed to achieve the results that you want, because you are in the driver's seat. You are going to determine whether or not you do the stuff that's required. And like I mentioned before, this process is undeniable to work and get you to where you want to go, but based on those two things: if you put in the effort and you don't give up. And that is primarily based on your mindset, okay? Which I'm going to dive into how we help with that here in a second. The second part to that of a successful business is marketing, right? How does a business get new customers? Well, it's two things: it's attracting the attention and converting the attention. And so, marketing in this case is how you generate interviews. How do you represent yourself online? How do you look how do you look as a professional? How do you become known in the job economy or the job market that you want to work in? Third is, as you guys all very well know, sales, right? Sales is a very important part of the business. In fact, if we didn't have sales, we wouldn't have a business. And so the same rule applies here, but it's not in relating towards your performance on an offer. It's actually relating towards how you interview. When you interview, that is basically a sales call for your own business. It's how you get clients. So you want to view it through that lens, as opposed to just thinking that, you just get good at the skill itself. This is where most people really make a massive mistake as beginners, is they get told they just need to learn the one skill. They need to learn how to sell, but that's not it. You have to learn all these skills that encompass a very well-rounded sales professional and individual that makes the money that they want. Okay. The last final thing is, of course, your performance. So how do you actually fulfill for your clients? How do you treat your clients? Do you treat your clients' clients like they were your own, right? Again, thinking through the perspective and the mindset that you are your own business and not treating this as like a side hustle or just another job. It is essentially your own business. And that's why, again, sales is by far the best way, in my opinion, to develop yourself if you want to become an entrepreneur in the future, because this is basically like the test drive, right? You need to be able to do this before you can do that, in my honest opinion. Okay. Otherwise, you're going to fall flat in your face, like most entrepreneurs do when they try to start their own business prematurely, without all these skills, without all these mindsets, without all these paradigms and understandings. Okay. So let me dive through and take you through each individual pillar and how we help you through that process. And again, how we make it undeniable or irrefutable for you to win and be successful. Now, with the mindset side of things, aka your own leadership, this is really important, because none of this will work. You can be given all the right training, all the right support, all the right coaching, all the right community, but unless you do the work, it's not going to work either way. And so The reason why we start there, your own self leadership of you being able to do the things that are required to get the result that you want, to act as the person you want to become, uh, we need to put a heavy focus on mindset, because if you don't do the work, it's not going to get the results. Like I mentioned before, two things are going to make this not work: if you don't put in the effort, or you just give up. Okay, so the next item on the list is marketing. So, like we said before, how do you market your business? How you market it to your clients? This is going to factor into your personal brand. This is going to factor in how people view you professionally. How many people know you? Who knows you, right? This is, we break this down in very, 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 very clearly in these modules here of what I call infinite interviews, because when our students do execute on it correctly, I generally do believe you can get infinite interviews. Even if you're a beginner or you're experienced, the principles still apply. And yeah, we cover that very extensively. Again, information is just information. You need to have a coach that's going to help you implement that information, because you're going to view all those videos and all those trainings a different way as opposed to another person. And so it's very important that you have someone who's going to be able to help you with that step by step. A lot of people come to me and they go, Connor, I implemented what you said in your YouTube video, it doesn't work. The reason it doesn't work is because you probably didn't do it correctly. You did it incorrectly. You didn't do it for long enough, and maybe didn't put in the right effort. Those are the three main things it usually comes back to: the right effort, the quality of the strategy, and for enough time. And again, you can't just from a YouTube video or a couple YouTube videos usually get amazing results, because you don't have someone who's there one-on-one with you to help you and guide you along the process. Now, I want to just briefly explain, if you're not aware already, of why the networking process that we use is so powerful in landing jobs. This is a screenshot from an article that I found, which is called the Who You Know Numbers. Now, as opposed to cold DMing business owners and just reaching out to job posts and job applications, we know this stuff doesn't work, right? And if you don't know, it doesn't work, right? Maybe it kind of worked a little bit maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but that strategy is incredibly saturated, and there is now hundreds of thousands of people that are using the same strategy. And so we need to use what's worked backed by statistics and data. And in this study that was done from LinkedIn, a whopping 70% of people were hired at a company where they already had a connection in place, aka network. That should be all the motivation you need to learn how to leverage a network to get referred by someone. At the most desirable companies, so the companies you guys all want to work at, right? The best companies, the creme de la creme, cream of the crop. 95% of them in that test group or that research that they did hired from trusted connections. So what does that tell you? The best companies that you're looking for, you must have a connection within the company. Otherwise, not only will you not get the job, you'll never even hear of the opportunity in the first place. A study completed by Lever ATS indicated that once interviewed, a referred candidate has a 20x higher chance of getting hired than someone who applied online for a critical job. The old traditional ways of getting jobs is completely dead and is a very, very, very hard way about getting your first role in the space. It's very difficult. It's very competitive. And that's why we use the networking process, which, again, I talk about that extensively in a bunch of other videos. So I'm not going to cover it too much here. But yeah, that's the marketing side of things. Now, with the interviewing side of things, of course, information is information. We give you the best information possible that's out there. Like, for example, how do you prepare for the question of what's your experience? Tell me about yourself. What are your strengths and weaknesses? You've probably never thought of preparing for those questions before, so there's a bit of source, right? We show you how to prep for the interviews. We show you what to say on the interviews. We show you what to say in intro videos, right? We tell you how to do all the stuff. And this is all backed by all the results that I showed you before, but more importantly, how I myself have got 90% of the offers that I've interviewed for personally. So you get all that step by step. And again, this is also just information. You need to have the coaching element, which I described in my previous video of what you get on the back end, which is at this point in time, we're recording like 7 or 8 group coaching calls every single week with me and the team. Now, on a delivery and fulfillment side of, again, you actually performing, how we help you with that is you have 5 role play sessions every single week with me and the team, 2 with me, 3 with the team, and you've got 2 general Q&A calls like I just spoke about before, of where you can come in, you can role play, you can train, you can get your calls reviewed, one-on-one messaging me, all that type of stuff. Really, we've got that handled from, every angle, because again, I want to remind you that all this stuff is backed by 5+ years experience in high ticket sales, actually full-time selling, thousands of hours studying selling and selling itself in the trenches. I still sell for my business today, right? I've been doing this for a long time. I've sold for 8+ different offers. I've spent 50K plus on sales skills accumulatively. I've done the work, as opposed to all these other marketers that, have done sales for 6 months to a year and now want to teach sales. I've been doing this for a very long time, and you can see evidence of that through my YouTube channel alone. Full length sales calls. You can go have a good assessment of whether or not you have an idea. You think that I can actually sell from my 2 full length sales calls publicly available on YouTube, by the way. Very few people are confident enough to do that. So that's pretty much the process from the founder framework, philosophy, and ideal. I want to just add a few more things here just to manage expectations correctly. So usually, as I talk about with my YouTube videos all the time, realistically, it's not unrealistic to talk about 8 to 12K a month if you're doing this full time within about 6 months to a year. Right? That's not unrealistic at all. It's typical on average where I see most people hit that. And I'll explain why, because of these 3 main things here down the bottom. But you can hit it earlier. You can do it in 3 months and 4 months and 5 months and so on, or you could do it later. But typically on average, again, I'm speaking to averages here. I'm speaking to the general person who probably watches my videos, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to think about specialties. I don't want to think about exceptions to the rule. I want to think about everybody. And really, reality, everybody, it's going to take 6 months to a year to achieve the results that you're looking for. That's just the way it is. Now, the reason why this is going to happen is, number one, human error and ego, right? You're going to mess things up regardless of what you do and what coaching program you go through. We can minimize it and we can mitigate against it, but it's still going to happen inevitably, right? You're going to do stupid stuff. You're going to make mistakes. This is just a part of the process. And this is how you learn. This is how you get better. Paired with that is ego, right? Coming in the training program, a lot of students I work with still, even though they tell me that they're going to do everything I tell them to do, they do the opposite. And so if you have an ego and you go and do things that aren't the right stuff, it's going to drag out the timeline to get the result you're looking for, weeks, months, up to a year. Next thing, time takes time. Understand that learning a new skill is just going to take time. That is inevitable. There is no way of getting around that. No matter which way you try to spin it, no matter which way a marketer tries to tell you things are easy, you get this without that. It's just understanding that with anything that you do, it's going to take time, right? It's painful. I know it's a hard truth, but that's the reality of things. And the last final thing that can contribute to you getting your goals or getting to where you want to go much faster is luck. Of course, there's a small bit of luck that can factor into the situation. You meet the right person, you talk to the right connection, and you get on a right roll, and it's perfect, and you're slinging deals, you're making 10K a month. This is all very possible, right? But these are some, again, managing expectations and timelines that I wanted to talk about there. So there's the founders framework, there's networking we spoke about, the right expectations, the timelines, and we've talked about all the results we've been getting. I think finally, I want to cover again the 3-phase process we have with getting clients their first job, develop an earning, and scaling and ascending to the income that they want. So as I spoke about earlier in the video, usually typically on average, what we see across the board is about 3 to 5 weeks for people to land their first rock solid sales opportunity. Now we have specifically 10 steps that we get you to follow that is literally step by step. We've had 200 students and clients by now. We've had more data. We've improved the process. It's just got better and better and better and better. So we know every single step that you're going to need to take, where you're most likely going to fail, how to troubleshoot it, how to overcome the problems that you're having, how to get the solutions that you need. we've done this down to an exact science, and I've obsessed over this because this is a problem that I wanted solved. This is the problem that I had struggled with for so long when I first got in this industry. And I feel very confident in saying that we've actually cracked the code to this first phase in the process, right? Not relying on guaranteed placement, not relying on this, that, and other thing, not relying on me or anybody else, giving you a system on a silver platter that will enable you to get a job in any market, high ticket sales, whatever career that you're doing, right? This is based off principle, not just flashy, shiny techniques that are just random things that will work one day and not the next. This is not a saturated method. This will not get saturated, right? Nobody's doing this. You have to understand this, right? I'd even encourage this process to people who are looking to get jobs out of university. A lot of people struggle to do that, or college, right? This step-by-step process, the same rules apply. We've just taken, again, proven principles and applied it to high ticket sales. So we have that first phase. Once you've done that, you're going to move on to either a setting role or a closing role. I know the writing is kind of blurry. You can't really read it, and that's intentional because I know competitors will try to and have tried to copy this phase one here. But this is my pride and joy, and I think I'm very proud that we've made this. I don't want people to steal it. Again, once you get your role, you're going to develop an earn phase. You're learning, you're getting better. You're coming to coaching calls, you're implementing, you're making tweaks and adjustments so that you get better. And again, this is where you're going to make 3 to 6K a month. You can make more during that time, but usually that's typically an average where I see most people land. And then in your fourth, fifth, sixth month, we've done setting for a little bit, ideally and optimally. We've got that skill. We either progress in our current role to a closing position, or if that's not available, we use the same process we used at the start to navigate and get a good closing opportunity because we are more confident, we have more skills, we've navigated the space a little bit more, and we understand what we're doing. And this is where we scale and ascend to a closing position, which will allow us to make the income that we then want. We have an exact training process, more than you see here, of how you ramp up, how you get better, the exact training schedule, role plays, all that type of stuff. We go very in depth and detail with all that type of stuff. So 3 phases. The most important phase is phase number 1, which again is your first 1 to 2 months where you land your first rock solid opportunity. We had, one of my clients, Adrian, who's been burned before in another training program, specifically 5 weeks on the dot, landed his first role where on average, or the worst personal sales team is making 12.5K a month from the sales team. So all he has to do as a complete beginner is replicate the sales process that's proven, and then you can go ahead and collect his commissions, right? So many cases you can go check out here as the testimonials and stuff like that, where this has just worked. It just works. So that's pretty much the process as a whole. The last thing I wanted to show you guys, not to make this video too much longer than it needs to be, but what actually comes after this, because my goal is, again, 0 to 10. This is what we're aiming to do. But there's a next step after that. Once you get to 10K a month and you want to get to 20 or 30K a month, how do you do that? Well, there is a next step that I've created recently, which is called the RSA Inner Circle. And this is where we come in, we train you in a mastermind style setting. You can only jump into this training program. So I have another training program that, again, is only available to you and you only qualify for once you've done 8 to 12K a month consistently. This is when you'll then have the ability to enter into this second training program, which again is the goal in mind to 2 or 3 extra commissions in the next 3 and 6 months. I also understand that most people, especially you watching this YouTube video, you don't want to do sales forever. And I understand that. It's just a vehicle. It is a stepping stone to get you from where you are right now, making good money, traveling the world, having more freedom. But then most people want to eventually run their own business or do something with more leverage. So this is where in this mastermind, we go more intensive on your sales skills and really dive into your sales calls and go super, super granular on that. But we also help you develop the skills to be able to run your own business and your offer if you would like to do so, or partner with other businesses and other companies so you can make them lots of money. And so in turn, you do as well. This is what I like to call the money printed thesis, which I actually came up with after talking to a multi seven figure mentor of mine at the start of this year. And so this is like one of the results we've gotten with that recently. So this is one of our top students, Kashi. So basically 24K a month at 19 years old. We begun working together about 60 days ago. So he's basically doubled his commissions in about 60 days. We're aiming for that big 30K a month pretty soon. So you probably should see a case study coming out of the Inner Circle case study of him basically near tripling his income within the time of Inner Circle, which is super exciting. So that's pretty much the main steps. I don't want to talk about too much about that for now, but just to give you guys an understanding of where all this stuff is heading. So that's the process. That's how we help people. And I'm very confident that we've really cracked the process. We've made a blueprint to make it, again, undeniable for you to be successful as a complete beginner in high ticket sales. So if that was enough and you are convinced that I may be the person to help you to get to where you want to go in this space, there's going to be a link down below in the description. There'll be a type form. Fill out the application. Take a couple minutes to fill it out. Make sure you put some serious answers down, because if it's not, I'll most likely deny your call or cancel your call. It's either me or the team will be taking the call. And yeah, we'll see on that call if we can see if you might be a good fit for this process. You may very well not be. Your goals might be mismatched. Your expectations might be mismatched. You might not be just someone that would work very well in the community. I don't know just yet. And that's why we have these calls to find out. So again, to keep this video longer than it needs to be, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Hopefully you got some insights of how we work and what is actually required to be successful in high ticket sales. And again, if you're looking for a place to where you can facilitate that transformation and make the highest likely chance of success with high ticket sales, a lot of words, you know where to find me. There's an application link down below. You can book to speak to me and my team. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.